Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
Sorry about that. We're here.
We are here. Only 7 minutes late. That's not too
Hey,
bad.
No problem.
Most of the season we've been really good about it. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. It's an exciting time, man. I have no idea what day it is. Saturday.
It's Saturday. 1 week.
4 days.
1 week from now, it'll all be over.
It's gonna be crazy. So, well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have a very, very special episode lined up tonight. We have Karthik Kanagasabapathi from 1114 and Tyler Olds from 2826 joining us tonight. So we'll introduce them in a minute here, but we just got a lot to talk about. Kind of little roundtable discussion to start things off, just about aerial assist in this season and how everything's going, and then we're going to talk about the divisions a little bit. So thank you for joining us. So as always, just thank you to VexPro for sponsoring us. Their support this year has been absolutely incredible and awesome, and we'll have some stickers for our show that has been provided by them that are on this side.
I had some.
I got it. So if you see us at Championship, feel free to come up and say hi and grab a sticker from us. We'd love to hand them out. So it's kind of a bummer we won't be seeing them, that whole crew at Championship this year, but
Yeah.
we wish all them the best of luck in Anaheim. So that's cool. It's down there at the bottom. We have put up this year's top 25 shirt. So if you want to go to our spreadshirt, you're more than welcome to do that and buy a shirt. We've sold quite a few of them from last year, so really excited for that.
I'm excited about this show tonight. We have a lot of great data, a lot of great topics, and I think that it's going to be a great kind of a recap, especially with one of the reasons why we wanted to have Karthik on the show, and he kind of brought it up too, is because we've had a great opportunity to talk with him a lot down at Bill Blitz during the first few hours of this season, and now we'll kind of be able to bring it full circle to kind of get his opinion on kind of where aerial assist is now and all that good stuff. So, and like Mike said, we're going to talk about each division a little bit as well. So really have a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can always get in contact with us at mikeandjustinitm@gmail.com. You can send us an email if you'd like to. And some of the stats and division stuff that we'll be talking about has come from the 1114 scouting sheet. So just thank you to the Simbots for putting that out for public use, and it's helping a lot of teams out there. So thank you. So with no further ado, we're going to introduce our two guests. Kind of already did, but we have Karthik. And we have Tyler. So, guys, thank you so much for being with us, and it's gonna be a fun show. So, you want to start things off?
Absolutely. So I guess we'll let Karthik go first, and then Tyler can tack on. But just as a general statement, just what's kind of your favorite aspect or favorite part of aerial assist so far?
Favorite part. I think this game has the ability when you have close matches. It's very exciting towards the end. I just think the dynamic of the large ball flying around the field is pretty cool, and I think when you have an alliance that has a lot of synergy, I think it's fun to watch. You know, when three robots are really in sync and they're really blazing cycles, and you have parallel cycles going opposite sides of each other, and you know, as much as I dislike the amount of defensive play that's happening in this game, I mean, it still is fun to watch. I mean, Michigan State Championship was truly aerial assault, but I mean, I was on, it was super exciting, like watching Rush just play some lockdown defense on the 67, 17, 18 alliance in the finals there. So when it comes to my favorite part, I'd say, this game still plays well. And I think as we talk about what we want to see, the championship, what we're going to see is it's going to be interesting with the dynamic shifts when you increase the caliber of the three robots you have on an alliance. So yeah, it's going to be neat.
Mm-hmm. So Tyler, the question that we're on is what's your personal favorite part of aerial assist? Tyler was having some difficulties earlier, so I don't know if his mic is working currently, but it doesn't look like it.
We're going to go to the whiteboard.
There he is. So maybe while he's doing that, Justin, maybe what's your favorite part of aerial assist?
I think that it's a deep strategic game. I like that the teams can really tailor their strategy based on the alliance that they have, and even alliances that maybe don't have that elite score can still find a way to do quick cycles and use the low goal. I think the logo is what really made this game possible. The ability to clear the ball relatively quickly while being able to get points in a different way through the assists. So I think that aspect of it's cool. You don't need to have that high-flying robot. 3 average robots that play smart can be just as competitive.
Sure.
I think that's really cool.
I might. Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
Hey, holy cow.
All right, buddy. Good.
It's, plural.
Thanks for persevering through all that. So we were just talking about our favorite parts of aerial assist. So maybe just share your thoughts about it.
Well, aerial assist to me is one of those games where, at least as a team when we started out, that we took it as a game that, yes, the GDC is really pushing you to do assists for cooperation, but they do that every single year, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the beautiful parts about this year's game, at least, and something that I personally underestimated, is that the importance of truly working with your entire lines. It's not just, okay, you two go on offense, you go on defense, and go from there. Every single part of the alliance has to work together. I mean, you look at some of the Elam matches, some of the fantastic opportunities that have happened there, and it's really that meshing of the 3 teams coming together to work, in my opinion, better than any other year I've ever seen, where it has a competition aspect, even better than a bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. So very cool. Thanks, guys. Up next we have so seeing the game for the first time. Obviously, you have some preconception of how the game is going to go. Maybe Tyler, we'll start with you. What's maybe the most surprising thing about this game that you didn't expect when it first came out? Maybe now that or regionals and districts are over, maybe what's one thing that has surprising you?
I think what's really surprised me, and just to kind of reiterate what I said before, is the ability of teams to really come together and play together. Even the team that's just a box on wheels this year has a role to play, a much more important role to play than what has been in previous years. And that's something that surprised me a lot, is that as our team, we kind of looked like, it would be kind of a 2-robot game. I'm not necessarily going to want to share the ball with necessarily a box on wheels team.
Sure.
And that's the thing to me that's been truly surprising, is that any robot in this year's game has a chance to be a positive contributor to an alliance.
That's a great point.
Karthik, what do you think?
I think if you go back to when we were at Build Blitz, one of the things that we talked about is that we had some severe concerns about what the dynamic was going to be like pre-match planning strategies for this stuff with the sharing of the one game piece. And I think that the team surprised us this year, and I think it's gone pretty well. At least the events I've been to, there haven't been those horror stories of that one team just took the ball and shotgunned it. Like there's been matches like that where a team just holds onto the ball way too long. They just kind of do their own thing, cycling on their own. But for the most part, I think teams have managed the dynamic decently well. They've realized that the key to this game is to get as many assists as possible. So they've played strategies that are all encompassing. And I don't think we've seen too many issues with teams being like, hey, those are my auto balls, I'm taking those auto balls. I think teams have been able to work that stuff out. And I mean, you guys tell me differently. I think we've been to a good cross section of events between the 4 of us, but I don't know, have you guys seen the negative dynamic that we all were worried about at Build Blitz, or does things just played out kind of cleanly?
I can being the drive coach for 340. So when the frustrating thing is when you're behind the glass and you're trying to work through the strategy, the frustrating thing is how much time do you give a team that is struggling a little bit to kind of get their stuff going? Because like you said, everyone knows the assists are more important or the most important. So obviously you want to give teams time to get that assist going. So sometimes it has gotten a little heated behind the glass, just trying to figure out how much time do you give this team to pick up the ball, and they're struggling with that. And keeping everybody calm and on task is definitely a difficult thing. But as far as the positiveness of it, everyone is always looking for the overall success of the alliance. So the discussions I've heard haven't been, we're about to take that ball, so much as, how can we help you? What do you need from us? How can we get you guys that assist in that ball? So that's been good. It's been really positive.
I think, when that whole assist thing came out on the game animation and all that stuff, I personally thought, or a lot of us thought that this game could be confusing, could be hard to play in the heat of the moment in match play, could be hard to like kind of Justin just hit on, like kind of hard to orchestrate amongst teams. But I think I've been really surprised at how well teams are playing together, how well that teams have caught on to the strategy. And obviously that happens every year. The more teams play, the more, the better consensus is on how to play the game to be most successful. But I think teams have done a great job at really locking on to what aerial assist really means and how to play it.
I think one of the things, Karthik, you mentioned the having negative parts potentially in the game, and I think this year that really has gone away a lot more. And I think the reason being is that instead of saying you shall go here and you shall do this, it's how can I contribute? How can I make the alliance successful to get the max amount of points? Because teams are really starting to realize that. You saw this in some regionals, but even some late regionals, some teams didn't catch on that assists are everything. Mm-hmm. Win and loss is very important, but getting that max amount of assists, that's what you have to do. And if you end up when you're losing at the end of that, obviously winning's a benefit to that, but you got to get your assist score up. And I think teams, even young rookie teams, are really realizing that right off the bat, especially as we were in the week 5 and 6 regionals. And you can bet it's going to happen in championships.
Sure.
Yeah, I think another dynamic that's interesting that's played out is that if you think of past years, I mean, the role that teams would often kind of, be disappointed when they were asked to play it is like, okay, we just need you to play D this match. We don't need you to shoot frisbees. We just need you to play D. But when it comes to the elimination rounds, very few teams are picked just to play D. So a team's really feeling like they're not doing anything to further their case for being in the eliminations. By this year, when you say, okay, well, Team A is going to finish, Team B is going to trust, we just need you to inbound and release really quickly. When you tell a team to do that, well, come the eliminations, you still need that sort of team on the alliance because, like the best alliances I've seen this year haven't been with 3 scoring specialists or 2 scorers and a trusser. It's been a dedicated inbounder who can get that ball in and out as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. Like an 865 in Waterloo, for example, would be the perfect thing when they were paired with Poops in 2056. So this time when you're relegating a team to what some people would consider a lower role of inbounding, it's actually you're doing them a favor because they're really selling a skill that's very valuable for the elimination rounds. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that explains a lot of it.
And even in situations in the past, like in past games, sometimes if you have a team that was maybe only going to play defense or play a minor role in the alliance, if they didn't come through, it wasn't, you kind of, in some instances, even in situations where they almost got in your way, you're almost relieved to kind of be able to bypass them. But this year, it brings down the entire alliance station when you have to take a team out of the cycle or a team breaks down because you know how devastating it's going to be to your final score if you just can't get the assists, keep the assist score high. So I think it's created a very positive atmosphere in terms of trying to keep all teams involved in the match. Everyone wants to be a part of it. So I think that's really been a cool thing. I do have to ask, Karthik, did you guys build that wooden intake / outtake for that team? For the rookie team?
We didn't build it specifically for them. We built it for anyone, basically.
Oh, but you built it in...
we after going through 2 regionals where we couldn't really do the triple assist, playing out of the number 1 seed with the 24th pick, we decided to take matters into our own hands a little bit, and we decided, hey, let's build an intake that can easily be added to anyone using a Kitbot chassis. And so we did. We made it as lightweight as possible, included it as part of our withholding allowance, and then made sure that the weight was low enough that it could be included in the other team's withholding allowance because we weren't exactly sure where that was going to be. And then we scouted at Windsor, and we looked around for teams where we could easily mount that and where we could make changes. But at the same time, we were also looking for teams who could play heavy defense because obviously a team who's going to be doing the quick pass-through inbound, I mean, at max you're going to do 5 cycles in an elims match, realistically more like 4, and so the ball is going to pass through them in like 1 second each time, so that's 4 seconds. What do they do in the other 136 seconds they need to play D? So that's kind of what we evaluated on. We had our eye on 5288 for a while because they were driving really well, and it was a challenge to get it installed in the hour and 15 minutes we had, but the 5288 guys, they're mentored by the University of Western Ontario, Western University, and they're also involved with Team 4814, who everyone probably remembers from Curie last year, the number 3 seed, and 3756, who's another strong Ontario team. So there's a lot of experience from that mentor group, and those students were ready. And also, we had the 1114 and 2056 pick crews in there. It was pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah.
Trying to get that in there. Like there's Tyler Holtzman soldering a motor, and it was, yeah, like the lead inspector was right there watching, just trying to make sure everything was legal. And yeah, I'm glad it ended up working out.
Yeah,
So
it was awesome.
Yeah.
And a really cool thing for 5288, because now they have that intake that they're taking a championship with them. And,
cool.
if they do that for 10 matches, I mean, they're a team that could, sneak their way into the elimination rounds just as a dedicated inbounder. Because,
Absolutely.
again, sure they can't score, sure they can't trust, but, I mean, you get your first assist of your cycle just like that.
Yeah, in and out.
Well, Karthik, I think that's a really important thing, too, as we talk later on about the third pick for championships as well, is really having that scouting down. And I think that's going to be difficult for a lot of teams, for all of us who are used to only doing, 2 rounds of elimination matches. By having that third pick that could potentially be that one keystone that nobody really notices, I think that's a perfect slot for a team like that, potentially, if not higher, of course.
So this kind of discussion kind of gets into a question we had in one, but we just continue discussion about 4-team alliances. First year that they've done it here in the FRC, where you kind of pick your own backup bot, some people are saying, or you just, So what are your guys' thoughts on it? Do you think teams will be swapping around partners interchangeably, or do you think it'll just be kind of there just for a backup bot? Or do you think it might vary, from quarterfinals to semis to finals to Einstein? Or
Well, I mean, a lot of this stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves from year to year, from game to game. But IRI started doing this in about 2009.
Right. Yep.
And for the most part, most teams kind of at IRI were doing their, 3 robots and a backup bot. Last year at IRI, our alliance, we definitely went with a specific idea with our 4th pick. So we'd had, 3 cycling robots, but our 4th robot was a full court blocker, and we brought them in strategically to play against full court shooters. And this year, I mean, I'm not sure. I think that one of the keys to this game is how 3 robots work together. And you're going to want to get as much play time for the 3 robots as possible. So it's not like you want to be switching out, because then you have to adapt to a new sort of thing. So I think, you're going to have your best finisher, your best truster, and your best inbounder. And I think that's kind of what's going to be your go-to. And I think the 4th will exist more as a backup as opposed to a strategic switch-up. Now, on the other hand, if things aren't going swimmingly, and like you get blown out in quarterfinal 3 match 1, then maybe it's like, okay, let's change things up. But I kind of think, I don't know, like there's a lot of things you could do with that last pick. It's like, okay, so say you form the alliance you want with your first 3 picks, inbounder, truster, finisher. That 4th pick, you might say, okay, well, let's take a high-risk catcher, a team that just specializes in catching, because we might need bigger cycles to catch up against like a crazy, alliance of 148 and 67. I mean, there's dynamics like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I think with the 4th robot, I think this year, when you look at this year's game, is that if you have like the 3 primary roles of a primary scorer, a primary like a trust shotter, the 2nd robot in the pick, and then the first robot that just takes the ball and hands it off. If we go with that strategy, for example, I think in an elimination round you have each one of your robots, you're comfortable with each one of those robots doing 2 of those areas. And what I think happens with the 4th robot in the alliance is that you pick a robot that you feel is going to be comfortable doing 2 of those areas. And let's say, for example, your primary score goes up, then you just shift everybody up, for example. So now that middle robot becomes your primary score, because that's a robot you're next confident in. And I still think it's used in more of a backup play. I don't really foresee it being interchangeable strategies. Like Karthik was saying, if you're getting a good flow with something going, why would you ever want to change something like that? Now, obviously, there's going to be different strategies in different ways. Even if you're not doing too well in a quarterfinal or any type of elimination match, by changing it up, you're still messing around with the dynamics potentially, and you only get so much time to practice before elimination rounds start. Do you really want to, be swapping in a robot every other match? Now, if you take us back when it used to be 2-on-2, 2004 previous, you used to have to swap out a robot every single match.
Yep.
And, when you did that, coming from, I was in high school back then, if we didn't have to, we never would have. And I think that's very common now.
2 other things that I wanted to say about that is that I do, for the most part, I do think teams are going to stick with the same 3 robots. However, I don't think the 3 robots will necessarily go in draft order. I think that a lot of the times you will see teams playing 1, 2, and 4. The reason I say that is that teams so often get caught up in picking the best offensive robot, the best scoring robot, that I think, you will have a scorer, finisher picks Truster, and then they pick another finisher / Truster, and then use the fourth pick on the inbounder. But then quickly they realize that, hey, wait a second, our best strategy is going to be play finisher, Truster, inbounder, and then leaving the backup earlier. The other thing that I'll think will be very interesting is, and we see this at IRI from time to time, is when the alliance captain, becomes the alliance captain for whatever reason, and they may not be the strongest robot, and sometimes they play 2, 3, and 4. And the alliance captain says, hey, it's best for us if we sit ourselves down. So I think you could see, I think it would have been a bigger occurrence if we had only played 8 qualifying matches, but good guy Frank got us 10. So,
Good guy,
but
Frank.
I think you might see a scenario where there, if there's something fluky going on with the seedings, where a team says, okay, I've formed this wicked crazy alliance, and now I'm going to step out for a bit.
Yeah. I think, Karthik, you hit on it a little bit, and somebody in our thread on Chief Delphi hit on it a little bit. Like, last year might have been good to have a team that, could block full court shooters. Like, that would have been maybe a good time to do it.
Or to have a full court shooter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
As far as this year, I mean, Tyler hit on it a little bit. I don't think you'll see it, that often. And I think, as far as usually a good high goal shooter or good high goal scorer can trust shot. We've seen that. So I don't think there's enough variance. And I feel like every match that goes by, that risk of putting a team in there, just as far as what's the word I'm looking for? Behind the chemistry behind the glass, like I think that that definitely changes. If you're gonna try it on Einstein, if you haven't done it on Einstein, I don't think you should do it. If you haven't subbed in somebody by then, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, and my favorite part of it is just the fact that it gives you somebody that you can put on the field if one of your robots goes down, and you can bring that robot that went down back later. It's always a tough thing. We saw it at Finger Lakes when we had a drive axle share in finals, or in our last semifinal match before the finals, and we were kind of on the fence of, are we going to get this completed in time? We're going to bring the backup bot. And the thing with the backup bot is, once that backup bot comes in, and Madtown kind of saw this as well, there's no reversing it. That's the final thing. So it's great to have it's great to have kind of an insurance policy there where you can have someone that you trust to go in there and maybe win you a match. Well, that other team on your alliance gets a little, 10, 15, 20 minutes or so to kind of get their stuff figured out and get them back on the field. Yeah. I think that's going to be a great thing.
Cool. If there's one thing I can just kind of chime in, Karthik, you mentioned that that there's a potential that the number one team wouldn't necessarily want to play and go with the second, third, and fourth. I find that very highly unlikely, especially at championships. I could see that happening potentially more at regionals if that's implied in future years. But I don't know at championships. If you are the alliance captain, I mean, that's a very big thing to really say, hey, I'm going to step back and not play in the alliance.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult thing to do. I mean, I think for any team to just kind of make the decision, hey, we're going to sit ourselves out. But I think it really depends on the team, because I think there are some teams who will say, oh, maybe this is not our best shot at winning. But it's even at IRI, we've all been there where there's been this opportunity, and we kind of like, we look at it, it's like, oh, that team might want to sit out. But it's a difficult thing to do, and I don't know how many teams can actually make that sort of decision. It is tough.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and I hope we don't see it, but I think there also might be a possibility there where a certain team, depending on who's kind of waiting in the wings, might feel a bit of pressure to kind of, if kind of the two people in the normal alliance kind of feel like the other robot's not working out, and then there's kind of a talk of trying to bring in that other robot to replace them for a match. I just kind of hope that there's not a messy situation kind of evolving there.
Yeah, I hope not. But I feel, you have control over that. I mean, you have control over who you're going to pick for that. Everybody on your alliance. So hopefully you'd pick somebody that is in it for for the team and wouldn't mind going in for a match and coming out, or just wouldn't have an ego about it or anything.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's a very positive change. I'm happy to see it, and this discussion kind of has got me more excited to see how alliances use it and how the strategy plays out. And hopefully it's something that we'll continue to see in the future.
So Karthik mentioned about Good Guy Frank. So we have a preliminary match schedule already. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Are you excited for it? Are you?
They did it last year too.
Huh?
They did it last year too.
Oh, they did. I forgot about that. So
we didn't go. So yeah.
That's why we didn't know. We weren't there last year, so maybe that's why it slipped my memory. But can you talk about now for the past 2 years having a match schedule early and what that means for teams?
I like it. I mean, it's good. Like you can do more prep. Like there's little things you can do. Like you can photocopy them. You can print them out. You can have it so you have more than one copy and you're not madly transcribing.
Right.
You can do a lot of strategizing in advance. There's so much match video this year. It's overwhelming how much match video there is out there. So you can get a lot of pre-planning done. You can figure things out. I think it's a nice addition and something that I wish they did more often.
Yeah, I completely agree, Karthik. One of the things that I think Frank has done such a good job of is not just being transparent in what's going on, but being transparent in the right areas that, honestly, that we care about. I mean, these are things and changes that have been made in the last year that, and frankly, no pun intended, has been completely positive. And offering a match schedule ahead of time, like Karthik said, allows you to look into so much more, and honestly just adds to the excitement. And we talk about making first loud, and that's kind of their theme. To me, I mean, I get the butterfly seeing the schedule ahead of time, and I want to do work, and I want to keep going, and hopefully it motivates my students to do the same thing as well.
Sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, that's one of those obvious questions. I don't think there's anybody against an early match schedule, but it does help a lot, and it gets, I think, people, like Tyler just said, gets people excited about it, gets people ready, and starts discussions early amongst teams.
Yeah.
Going in.
Plus, it's cool. I mean, the Chief Delphi Thread has already started. For myself or for one person to kind of look at all the divisions would be very, very difficult. But now we have this must-see matches thread on Chief Delphi, which is really cool.
Yeah,
just allows everyone to compile this great list of matches that on paper should be very exciting and high scoring. So I think that's another great part of it. So yeah, it's all positives over here.
So our next question kind of is mostly just for Karthik here. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but we obviously were both at Build Blitz. So from the first few hours there, can you maybe talk about how this game has evolved, or maybe how it stayed the same, or how strategy at the beginning, how that's maybe changed some, or maybe that's the same as well? Just your thoughts from the very first few hours there to where we are today.
Well, I remember the first thing that happened at Build Blitz is when we all read the manual and we're like, what are you going to do when a robot dies?
Exactly.
And we just all were freaking out about that. And so that got fixed really quickly, thankfully. Because, I mean, we've seen what chaos a dead ball creates now, even with a system to deal with dead balls. So if there was no system, it just, oh, man.
It would have been the worst.
Yeah.
Just a nightmare. Like, imagine if there was no dead ball card. How many matches would have just ended there? Or it would have ended like with terrible situations of robots trying to rip balls out of robots' claws. I mean, as a team that did that at one point this season and then got surgical tubing stuck in our wheel and we stretched the surgical tubing for 15 feet, it was a train wreck. I mean, so there's that. I think we all had a pretty good sense of how defensive this game would be because, again, if you're not, you're not holding a ball, you got to be playing defense. So that's like 100 seconds of the match or more that every robot on an alliance should be playing defense. And, when you have smart alliances who are doing that, it is pretty ugly. I think we saw that one coming, but I think sometimes it's still surprising. Like, I think we definitely saw it at MSC where the elims just played completely different than the qualification rounds did. It was just night and day, where qualification rounds, everyone was kind of content, to do what they could, pad their assist points, and the elims, it just went boom. So that's one of the things I think we definitely saw coming at Build Blitz. I think maybe because of the compacted nature of Build Blitz, we spent so much time focusing on, high goal scoring robots. We probably didn't spend enough time focusing on low goal dedicated inbounder, but I think Well, I mean, I remember the initial strategy discussion Team Copioli had, where I kind of outlined the percentages, said, "Hey, logo is a winning strategy." That has played out in a lot of ways. You can do a lot with the logo, and actually, I think um, the high goal and qualifying matches where they should be padding their assist scores by doing more logo cycles. So
yeah. Tyler, maybe in the same vein of that, maybe where Wave started out, are you guys maybe surprised at all of? I guess we already talked about that, but are you where Wave started at the beginning of the season and where Wave ended at this season? How much adjustment did you guys make, maybe in strategy or in design or anything?
Yeah, I think Karthik made a very valid point about how during the Build Blitz, you saw everybody being a 10-point type scorer, primary scorer, and I think that's with this year's game that was one of the most interesting thought processes I had later on. Is like when you first start your robot, are you really going to start design a strategy that says, hey, I want to be the person that just does inbounding or and be really good. I want to be the best inbounder there is,
right,
or the best trust shot robot there is. And that's something that, at least from, our team, we, of course, always want to be a primary scoring type robot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the things that maybe didn't get taken into consideration as much as it should have was that, there is a good chance we are going to be playing these other roles even during qualification matches. During the season altogether, I think the biggest shock to us once again was the assist points. We knew assists would be important, and we knew that we'd have to engage our teammates more, but we didn't think that we necessarily would have to engage all three teammates on offense the way they did. And I think somebody mentioned in the chat, I think really the golden thing is that if you're playing offense with all three robots, all three robots, if they're not touching the ball, need to be playing defense at the same time. And that was one of the things that we tried doing as well. Fortunately, our team, we had some unfortunate mechanical issues during our second regional, but that was one of the things for us is that we were like offense, and we want to be the primary scorer all the time. And I don't think we fully took as a map strategy into consideration saying, hey, before the regional started, we might be the person just taking the inbound, and that's something we really need to focus on a lot.
Okay, cool. So we talked to you a little bit about it before the show started, but can you talk maybe what it's like on the other side of a team that's not going to be playing a championship? We've seen in years past, like 217, that has not been able to go, and 233 this year. How is your team maybe kind of handling that, and kind of maybe give us a perspective from a team side of that? Because we talked a couple weeks ago about, we're really going to miss Wave, and like Wave has a great robot, and we really wish that Wave could be there. So maybe just hit on that a little bit.
Thank you first off for mentioning that. So it's a great honor to have. But it's one of those things where only 400 teams right now are making it. Is it going to be less in the future? There's more and more teams every single year, and this year's game just allowed a new level of competition. It allowed every single team to get in with the game, and being this is our first time since 2010 not making championships. We're only going into our sixth year as a team, but the way we have to look at it, you have to look at it as a humbling aspect to say, hey, if I want to get a championships next year, what do we have to do to improve ourselves as a program even more? And of course we're disappointed. Of course our students are disappointed. Everybody who doesn't make championships, in my opinion, should be a little disappointed because you work so hard. It's amazing design. And no, it's not just all about the robot. We've all heard that a million times. But in some instances, to me, the robot is something. It is a tangible thing that you help create and help build.
Absolutely.
And of course you want to see it succeed. To not be able to go to championships, to look at it from the outside, like I said, to me, it's only fuel to add to improve ourselves as a team, and not just from the robot perspective, but we also didn't qualify for championships by not winning Shermans or entering Inspiration as well, too. So those are things as a team that we need to look at and analyze and say, hey, what can we do from a robot, from Chairmans, from EI, what can we do as a program to improve ourselves? And that's something that all of our students did right when the end of our last regional, Wisconsin regional, happens. We sat down and said, hey, this isn't over yet. Just because we're not competing anymore this season doesn't mean that we're not going to keep improving as a team and continue to have more student involvement, more student input, more input from our mentors so we can become a better team for next year. And like you said, not just so we can go to championships and impress other teams, but so we can be proud of ourselves as a team, that we are continually improving. Because even if you are the best team, you should still want to continually improve.
Yep.
Now, being a team that hasn't made championships, we really want to continue to improve. That's our goal every year. So we want to make it to the championships because we want to be able to provide as many opportunities to our students as possible.
Yeah, and we can totally relate. Last year for us, I mean, we went through the same thing. We didn't qualify last year for the first time since 2003, so it was just like it was a huge wake-up call for us. And like you mentioned, we used it to get better. So I think there's there's got to be an important person somewhere on the line said something about failure, and it's not how you fail, it's how you pick yourself back up or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very cool. That was very. Oh, sorry, I didn't switch. So that was very insightful, Tyler. So, thank you for speaking on that. So, okay, so I guess we're gonna go into our kind of the division discussion. So I'm gonna let Tyler open it up. He's got some notes for us, and you can do your introduction there, Tyler, and go into your first division. And when Tyler's done, we got some stats again from 11-14 scouting stuff, and Karthik's gonna add things as he sees fit as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to take one division at a time, guys, and just a couple things to say before we get started. First off, kind of to elaborate to the question before, not having a horse in this race this year has actually, from me personally as an analyst, has allowed me to really not be tunnel vision and not just focus on one division. So, a little consolation prize, I guess, but it's really allowed me to be able to look at all the divisions and be excited about all of them. And, I saw in the chat all these people are like, oh, this division's good, this division's good. Guys, this year, every single division is going to be insanely competitive. Mm-hmm. Let's put it down right there. It makes it very tough to only pick a few teams per division. So what I've done is I put together a top 5 list of each division, as well as a couple honorable mentions, and also a dark horse as well. A couple things to consider too, guys. If you're not mentioned or you disagree with me, that's okay. Go out and prove yourselves as a team out there, and I want you to take, if you're offended by this or anything like that, or you feel disappointed you're not mentioned, this is your chance and your spotlight and your opportunity to really get out there. I can't view every single team, but that's your chance to go out there and to prove your team and to become a fantastic and do whatever you want to do as a team. So with that said, we're going to start out with the Newton division today, very appropriate for one of our other guest hosts here, I believe. So starting out, we have our top 5 teams that we're going to...
Oh, no.
Did Tyler's mic die?
It did die.
Oh.
Wait. What happened?
Someone hold up the dead ball placard.
Dead ball.
Tyler, we can't hear you. Stop talking.
Anybody?
Oh, is he still going?
He is.
Yeah, he's on a roll.
Oh, wow. He is into this.
I really want to hear about
this is like my worst nightmare. Like every conference call I've ever been on, I just start talking and I'm like afraid that no one's listening. Wow.
I know. Wait.
Does anybody have Tyler's number?
I typed in our little chat.
I don't actually know what to do here.
This is too good.
See if he sees this one.
Someone text him. Oh wait, I can message him on Facebook
if he's on. Oh no, that was the oddest thing too. Right when he was about to start.
Right when he went into it.
Right when he stopped.
But anyway, so maybe he'll figure it out.
This is actually hilarious.
Oh wait. No, he's still talking.
Anyway.
He stopped.
Wait, I think we...
Oh, he just laughed. All right. Oh, he's getting the paper.
The paper's coming out.
What happens when one of the best MCs in first is talking, but no one can hear him?
Sorry. So as far as Newton goes, well, he comes back. So Newton,
but it's kind of odd that he stopped hearing us too. So
I know,
maybe
right?
It was his whole thing.
Everything went out. Newton teams have played 2,525 matches. They have a combined record of 1,549 wins, only 960 losses, and 16 ties. Have a win percentage of 62%. Boast 49 regional winners, 16 district winners, 29 finalists, in 16 Chairman's Award teams, and 16 Engineering Inspiration teams.
So again, thanks Subotics for that stuff. But we're talking about it a little later. And Tyler just mentioned it too. We'll see it as we pull up the other ones. But these teams or these divisions, excuse me, are just so similar in statistics. It's eerie. Like like I'll get into I'll share the details later. But as far as like
my back,
yeah, there you are.
Dude, that was like the funniest thing.
Hold on. Now am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Hold on. Now I made a deal with those guys. So hold on 1 second.
Oh, here we go. You're in for a treat, everybody.
Yeah.
Is that better?
The Newton Shark. All right.
Much better, huh?
Want to try Newton again?
Tyler, it happened literally as soon as you said your last thing from your intro. As soon as you went into Newton, it just cut off. Like, it was.
Oh, you got me, man. I'm sorry. So
it was eerie. Like, it was
hilarious.
All right, well, let's try that again. How's that?
Oh, nobody saw. Oh, nobody. Everybody missed your shark. I had it pulled up wrong.
Oh, I saw the shark.
Oh, yeah, we did because we're in the hangout. Pull up your shark again.
Oh.
I don't know. My head's crooked now, but that's okay. We'll try it later on. Yeah.
I can't do everything.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, and everybody can hear me. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to start off with the Newton division once again. Sorry about that, folks. We're going to be talking about 5 teams that I picked out from there, as well as a couple honorable mentions and a dark horse as well. I'm sorry, I don't know why my shark's still showing. There we go. So with that said, 5 teams that we picked out here, in no particular order necessarily, but 5 teams that really stood out. We're going to start out with our fun-filled co-host team number 1114, Symbotics, 2-time semifinalists and 1 regional win out of Windsor. Now, guys, this is a team that, you have to look at this objectively. First thing you say, Symbotics, they're a popular team. Well, yes, they are, and that they're a very sexy robot, by the way. Very nice.
Very nice.
But with their performances that they've had, I personally feel, just watching some of the video feed, that some of their performances were perhaps a little bit out of their control when they got eliminated at the semifinals. There are a couple incidents that they couldn't really do much about, and I don't think that's necessarily, as a robot, their fault. Now, is an Alliance fault in general? Maybe so, but their robot, in my opinion, is one of the best robots still on the field. A completely reliable, hot goal autonomous that always scores every single time. I mean, the hot goal points, if you can get that correctly, in my opinion, really adds to the Alliance and really does a great job with the Alliance. And one of the things that they do as well that I believe is essentially important to me is that, working with Karthik in the past that I had, I mean, what an inspirational figure that team is. And they can motivate our teams to do what's best for the Alliance. They get amazing assist points. And to me, once again, with the assists being the most important thing in this year's game, in my opinion, I think that they're able to really perform well, and I think they're going to have great success, especially in qualifying rounds, getting the assists and getting the wins that they need. One of the things that I've noticed as well, too, potentially, and with these top 5 teams, these can be very nitpicky things, keep that in mind, but one of the things that I've noticed with 1114 is there is a potential to spin them right when they're about to shoot to get their shot off a little bit. Now, is that something they can have with a lot of teams? Absolutely, but that's one pro tip I potentially have against 1114. Our team joining them is team number 971, Mammoth Robotics, winner at Sacramento and Silicon Valley Regional, undefeated in both those regional guys. A fantastic-looking robot, very similar, if you're not familiar with them, look very similar to team number 67. Very, very nice-looking robot. One of the areas of opportunity I have for them, though, is their drive seems to be just a tad bit slow for one of the highest caliber teams, so we'll have to see how their maneuverability works while they're on the field. Joining them as well is team number 16, the Bomb Squad, winner of the Arkansas and Queen City Regionals. When you think about Bomb Squad guys, between them and 1717, they are the kings of swerve. An amazing, fantastic robot, true ball hot every time. And the one thing that I love about team number 16 is their ability to make extremely smart decisions on if they're going to go for the 10-point goal or for the 1-point goal. If you watch their matches, they adjust and adapt so quickly, and that's something that some other swerve drive teams, in my opinion, seem to be a little too confident that they're going to be able to get that 10-point goal because they can outmaneuver their opponents. 16 makes the right decision every time, going for the right goal at the right time with the right amount of assists. One of the things, once again, nitpicking a little bit, for the 10-point goal, they do need to shoot from a bit of a distance, very common with your swerve drives. Something to keep in mind while you're playing against them. Number 4, I have team number 1986, Team Titanium. As my 4th team on this list, winner of the Central Illinois and Kansas City Regionals. Very nice looking robot, once again, reminds me a lot of 1114, which just strives for quality. To me, the great thing about 1986 is that in the Midwest area, it's been a while since we've really seen team come to rank since 111 and 71 in those days. 1986, man. I mean, what a fantastic set of robots they put out the last few years, and this year is no exception to that. They do not have a hot ball detection, as I could tell, but they're still a great robot overall. One of the things that concerns me a little bit with 1986 is watching them in the elims. In neither of the elims were they the primary scorer in those. They were the trust ball robot. And while I have full confidence in qualification rounds that they will make the 10-point goals, not having experience in the elims, I'm not sure how that's going to quite play out for them. They're still a great robot, guys, and I still think they're going to go very far. My top 5 is team number 368, Team Kikamana. Completely dominated the Hawaii Regional this year, lost to 971 and 254 in the finals at SBR. Very agile sword drive, reliable, 2-ball, long-distance autonomous. It's a great robot overall, and I think that they're going to have a lot of success. A team that you might not think about too much, but I think they're going to go very high up in the rankings. 2 honorable mentions I have for the Newton division. First one is team number 610, the Coyotes, winners of GTR West and the North Bay Regionals. Very reliable shooter. And the one thing I love about them is they have absolutely no fear being a front-end shooter, being a non-holonomic drive, of being the main front scorer robot. And man, can they plow through other robots. It's great to see. They are a little bit slow, in my opinion, for high-caliber robots to be in that top tier. And we'll be interested to see how they maneuver out of situations for a 10-point shot once it gets really crowded down the field. Second honorable mention is team number 1678, Citrus Circuits, winners of the Inland Empire Regional, undefeated. Won Sacramento with 1 loss and lost SBR with team number 368. One of the fastest West Coast drives out in the field, in my opinion. Very swift intake, great trust shot partner, and I think that that's going to be really where their key is being a fantastic number 2 bot, doing the trust shot over and picking up the ball off the ground. Like I said, a great assist spot. Not 100% confident as them being a primary shooter in elims, but I don't think that's their position in what they play to elimination rounds. My dark horse for this regional in Newton is team number 3539, the Biting Bulldogs. They were finalists at Troy and lost in the quarterfinals at Michigan State. Now, while they do have some potential center of gravity issues and a little bit of lack of versatility in shot, they can do a moving shot. Their 3-ball autonomous works very well in qualification rounds, and I think that's going to allow them to seed high. Now, how far they go in elims might be a different situation, but I think they're going to be a team that you're going to see seed very high in qualification rounds.
Very cool.
So that's all I have for noon, guys. Let's talk a little bit about it.
All right. Well, for myself and Mike and Karthik, we are all in the Newton division.
We are.
So.
While you were fixing your thing, we brought up some stats from the Symbotics thing. You can't. I don't think you won't be able to see that, Tyler. But winning percentage of 62% across the field. 49 regional winners, 16 district winners, and 29 district finalists. So a lot of successful teams in Newton.
Yeah, Newton actually boasts the highest winning percentage overall with 62%. And then, again, having 971 Spartan Robotics and their robot Mammoth in there, being undefeated 35-0. Impressive. And we're fortunate enough to get to play a match with 368 and 610. Unfortunately, I have to play against Symbotics, but... Karthik, do you want to speak on the Newton division, or do you want to keep your cards a little close to the vest?
My observations on Newton, you know me, I am probably going to keep my cards close to the vest. I think Mammoth is probably the coolest robot name I've heard in a long time. Just watching video from Sacramento, and the game announcer, was it Sacramento or Central Valley? The regional they paired up with 1678. The game announcer there was just amazing. Tyler, do you know who that was by chance?
Oh, the game announcer?
Yeah, I think that was.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just did an on-fire.
I think they partner up at Sacramento, by the way.
Yeah, so it was Sacramento, but 971, really impressive. I guess the thing about Newton is that division is a lot deeper than a lot of people are thinking. So I think it's going to make very good use of the 32-team field for the elims.
Mm-hmm. Definitely be interesting. Very cool. All right, Tyler, who do you got up next?
All right, next we're going to talk about the Galileo division. Top 5 teams who have this. Once again, no particular order. We're going to start with team number 67, the Hot Team. Won 2 out of 3 districts this year. Finalists at MSC. Fantastic. Once again, very similar to the 971. As Karthik mentioned, a great robot, 2-way shooter, hot goal detector. The drive team is amazing experience. If you ever met Adam Freeman, what a fantastic coach that he is, and can inspire other teams to do an amazing job. One of the things, pro tip for them, they can get a little bit jammed up in traffic, I've noticed, especially trying to get into the 10-point goal. They seem to try to force that a couple times. So one of the things for 6-7 to look at is how do they reposition if they're not able to get into that 10-point goal. Next team joining them is team number 1717, the Penguineers, winner at the Los Angeles Regional, finalist at Las Vegas. Once again, we talk about amazing square drives, and 1717 always takes the cake for that. A really good 2-ball auto. And to me, one of the coolest shooters in first. I love how their mechanism picks up, and it just spits that ball right up with all those wheels that they have on there. Makes for a great robot overall. And to me, losing at Las Vegas, I think was just something where, it's just the chips fell where they were. I think they're a fantastic robot. And I think they're going to go very far on the Galileo division. My next team joining them is team number 148, Robo Wranglers, a finalist at Alamo, losing to 118. They won Dallas, and then won Lone Star with 118. Now, 148 to me, where their versatility comes in is that they're able to play all three positions very well. And I really like that in a robot that even if they don't see necessarily high, they're going to be a high pick because they can play any position you need them to. They're able to shoot up close and far back. They have a very reliable robot overall. A concern of mine potentially is that Toro intake, though. I do have to admit I'm not the biggest fan of Toro intakes. I think it provides an opportunity for you to knock the ball away while they are trying to acquire. And I do have a little bit of questions if during the qual seeding, if they're going to have a 2-ball auto ready for that as well, a reliable 2-ball auto. Fourth, I have team number 2337, the Engine Nerds, winner of 2 of 3 districts in the Michigan and also semifinalists at MSC. Able to shoot right behind the 1-point goal, and pretty much they're very versatile as a robot, and I really like that. Very reliable. Once again, Toro's on a robot, though. I always have concerns with how the intake's going to work and what position they're going to play. My last on my top 5 is team number 225, Tech Fire, winner of one of the MAR events, won DC, eliminated in the MAR semis. I really like their 2-ball autonomous, very reliable qualification shooter, which I think is great to have. Questions, though, a little bit is that in their shooting, they seem to be a little bit slow in the whole shooting aspect. Questions if they're going to be able to shoot fast enough for elims as a front-end 10-point scorer. However, they could be in a different role or position, too. I have a couple honorable mentions. I have a 2.1 and a 2.2 because I was very tied between them. My first honorable mention, though, to me is team number 3937, Breakaway, winner of Arkansas and the Bayou Regionals. Very simple, agile machine, a remarkably good intake that even though as small as it looks, it picks up a ball pretty much anytime. Very similar, in my opinion, to 2590 Nemesis. Great robot. Their shooting reliability might be a little bit in question, but I think they're a very versatile bot that allows them to perform well. My next honorable mention, we'll call it 2.1, is team number 188, the Blizzard. Finalists at GTR West, winners at North Bay. A great trespasser. Able to shoot the 10-point ball from various locations on the field. A little bit of concerns about their 2-ball autonomous and the reliability of that. So we could see them being a first or second round pick, definitely. I'm not sure about how they're going to see in the qualification rounds. My other honorable mention is team number 190. Interesting thing, being that Mort Beta is the JV team from Mort, but I've been told Mort considers them all of one team. What a fantastic performance they had at MAR Championships. Winner at Bridgewater, 2-ball autonomous, ability to shoot from multiple areas and multiple positions is great. Their 2-ball is a little bit inconsistent sometimes, so a little bit of concerns with that. Decision making on when to shoot low goal versus high goal, that's one thing I think that they can improve on, is they seem to want to go for that 10-point goal in situations where 1-point goal might be a little bit more appropriate. Awesome. My dark horse for this division is team number 2481, the Roboteers, winner of the Wisconsin Regional. Personally, I've known this team for quite some time. They're a fantastic team. Completely dominated the Wisconsin Regional this year, made a lot of improvements from Central Illinois, and I think they've flown under the radar a lot this year. They have a sword drive with 180-degree intake, just fantastic. A very fast shooter, allows them to get in position when they need to as well. One area of opportunity for them, though, is I question their ability to have a reliable 2-ball autonomous, so we'll see how that works out for them in the qualification rounds.
Great, Tyler. Thank you. Didn't mean to distract you if I did. I was writing a couple notes as you went on. Going back to 67, we mentioned a little bit, and Karthik mentioned it a little bit earlier too. Just 27 just shut them down in the finals there at MSC, and that's definitely something to look out for. But regardless, 67 does have a great robot.
Well, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it blew me away because all season long I was telling everyone that I thought that 67 was the best team at first at playing through defense with their ambidextrous shooter, and they are the quickest scorer out there. They get the ball and
Yeah.
they line up and it's just gone. But man, Rush just enveloped them. What they did was crazy. Two other robots that Tyler didn't mention that really impressed me. One that I know very well because they've been down on our practice field, and we played with them at GTR East. We played against them in Waterloo, Team 3683, Team Dave. Phenomenal robot. Can play both the trusting and the finishing role really well. Their drive coach is an 1114 alum who is super, super sharp. They strategize well. They'll be in the elimination rounds for sure. Probably on one of the top 4 alliances, and they'll do good stuff. 973. What I saw of them in the elimination rounds of their first event, Central Valley, with the Poofs, they looked great, and I think it was pretty neat how much they struggled at qualifying with weird random control system issues, and they finally got them sorted out. They just came out firing, and I don't know. 973 is just one of those teams. They've impressed me a lot the last few years, and they were the first team to use a goalie stick effectively this year, and I'm sure they will be doing more of that at Champs.
Very cool.
Hey, Karthik, just to mention, because I did type in chat, Team Dave was definitely very close to my list. They just missed my cut. But I do completely agree that they're a very versatile robot, and I could definitely see them going very far in elims.
We also talked about 148 here and about their Toro sticks. But I think out of all the teams that have Toro sticks, I definitely believe that 148 is the best at it. I mean, and we've talked about all season and all of last season, just the iterations that 148 goes through. And the thing now that really just clamps down on the top of the ball when they when they pull it in, I think is just really great. And they're not Toro sticks, they're lightsabers. So
yeah, exactly.
There you go.
So I have a kind of an interesting discussion that maybe we can have talking about this division is how important or how much do you take into account knowing the teams in your division? For example, more Martians, sister teams there, but also add in 67 and 2337, right? There's a pretty strong Michigan coalition there. You mentioned Techfire, more Beta, the test team, also the Miracle Workers. So a strong Mara contingent. How do you guys feel about, do you ever elevate teams that you know of from your area maybe higher than they should be based on numbers just because you know them and you kind of know what you can expect from them in the elimination rounds?
I mean, we've seen this at Champs over the past couple of years, especially since Michigan went to districts and those teams only play with each other. We've seen a lot of pure Michigan alliances and Michigan selections, and I think it's just kind of a natural thing. And as I think more regions go to districts where you're seeing the same team, for 3 events, you're going to get a lot of that. And I don't think it's, teams just kind of saying, oh, we value teams from our region more, but there is something to be said about familiarity. Teams who practice together, I think more and more FRC teams are starting to work together, during this long competition season with their practice robots and practicing together, or even, scrimmages beforehand. So that's sort of familiar. In a game like this, I mean, it's a big deal. Like,
sure.
2 teams who've, had considerable match time together. I mean, this game is all about teamwork. So if you practice that sort of thing before, I mean, it's naturally just going to be a bonus.
I think that's an awesome point, because this is kind of the first year ourselves that we've practiced. Where we're from in Rochester, New York, has just so many I don't know what the number is, but it's at probably at least 20 teams within an hour, of the epicenter of the center, of Center City. And this is kind of the first year that we've gotten together purposely and many times during the season to practice. And it's because you need other teams to practice with. It's not just running cycles with frisbees. It's not just shooting baskets into a hoop. You really need to dial in that practice with other teams and get those assists. And and all of that. So I think that's a great point.
Yeah, one other team from that division that we haven't touched on, or maybe Tyler did, and I was too busy checking basketball scores on my phone. But Kevin Durant is going off again. No surprise. But 44-88. I knew nothing about them until this season, and whew, very, very impressive. I mean, they look like a lot of robots that we've seen this year in terms of that Team JVN kind of geometry and all, but they execute at a very high level. It's really impressive.
Cool. Yeah, we kind of caught some flack, and deservedly so, for not mentioning them during our Pacific Northwest Championship preview. But the record's 47-9. They've won two districts. They were finalists at the Autodesk Pacific Northwest Championship. But yeah, they do have a great machine, and they'll definitely be a force on Galileo.
Yeah. So,
if I can mention one thing, just to go back to Karthik's comment before about working with teams that are that you've had experience with before, I think you need to look at it, as we talk about first as a simulator for business. Think about it if you are a business, who are you going to work with? The people who just come in and say, I have the best product, or are you going to work with somebody you're more comfortable with, somebody you've had past experience with? And as a robot, obviously we're always looking for who has the best stats, who has the best robot. But one of the key factors when we do our scouting is, who are we most comfortable working with? Who do we know is going to work well in an alliance? Who's going to not just listen, but contribute to an alliance as well?
Mm-hmm. And we've had that discussions in the past as far as this robot might be a little bit better on paper numbers wise, but what are the other factors that you're getting with that team? Are you going to get a pit crew that's that's a well-oiled machine and can maintain the robot? Are they going to make sure that they have batteries ready for every match? If something breaks, are they going to have the tools and parts to fix their robot? Do you see spare parts sitting in their pit for their machine? So there's a lot of external factors that I think a lot of teams that if you're looking to kind of bring your team to the next level, there's a lot of little things you can do like that. Keep your eyes open in the pits. Look at how their pit is set up and take that into account in your scouting meetings to say, can you trust this team in finals match 3 to put a robot on the field that can perform how you expect?
Mm-hmm. So a couple of stats that we had pulled. Galileo's their total is 2,527 matches played, with a combined record of 1597, 913, and 17. I know it was weird to say, but their winning percentage is 57%. They have 38 regional winners, 21 district winners, and 38 regional and district finalists. They're presenting with 12 Chairman's Award winners and 14 Engineering Inspiration winners.
So I was going to say this when you mentioned it last time about the even spread of the divisions. For the not complicated at all algorithm that they use to place teams, it's really kind of impressive how even. Yeah.
I was really surprised that Frank revealed that.
Yeah, I was too.
Because, I know what's going to happen next year. There's going to be teams that sit. It's like, okay, so, Team A wants to be really with Team B, so Team A will register for championship, and Team B will wait for 3 more teams to pop on the list, and then Team B will register.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I wonder what maybe
they may have forced themselves into changing, or maybe they just don't care. There's that too. Because realistically, at the end of the day, your divisions are going to be your divisions.
Sure.
And
yeah, I don't think they care at all.
Any sort of gaming like that isn't going to change anything. But I was a little surprised that they announced it. But I just think it's awesome. Again, good guy Frank, just sharing stuff with the community. He's awesome.
Every year comes out with that division's stacked, and I wonder how that happened, and that's so he's just flat out saying this is what we did, and now nobody can complain about it. So
like I said before, it's the right type of transparency that they're having. They're not coming out and saying here's exactly how we do everything that we do, but here are things that you are interested in.
Sure.
We're going to explain how this is done.
Yeah, great point.
All right, shall we move to what have you got next, Tyler?
We're going to go with the Curie division, not Curry.
Not Curry.
All the people who say it that way, including game announcers. On the Curie division, we have a very stacked amount of teams. We're going to start out with the team everybody's been talking about, team number 254, Cheesy Poofs. Winners of the Central Valley Regional, Waterloo Regional, Silicon Valley Regional. What an amazing machine. I think that practice spot that they showed in their fake video could probably beat about 75% of the field itself. Just to show you the amazing engineering that goes behind that. And that's the one thing I love looking at is just the amazing amount of engineering, their strategy, how they do it. 3-time regional winners, 3 times auto, amazing spin on the ball when shooting, which to me is one of the best things about them is they put so much spin on that ball that even if you do hit them, or even if they're a little bit out of distance, I think that ball is going to go in every time. Being a West Coast type, maybe some traffic jam issues, but man, are they going to be a tough team to beat? They're going to see very high on the Curie field. Mm-hmm. Joining them as well, we have team number 118, the Robonauts, winner of Alamo, Greater Kansas City, and the Lone Star Regional. Once again, a great robot overall. The aesthetic design of their robot is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't love their videos every year? But their performance of the robot, they're comfortable playing that front-end shooter. They do it very well. They have that huge area, they catch a ball in from a human player, and they can play the other positions as well. They are very versatile in what they want to do, but they are very confident being a front shooter. One of just a little bit of concern I have with them, they have had a little bit of consistency with that 10-point goal in tele and auto a couple times, and if they're not quite in their sweet spot, they can be a little bit disrupted. But once again, we're nitpicking on things here, guys. Great robot that Robonauts have. Joining them, we have team number 987, the High Rollers, finalists at San Diego and winners in Las Vegas. Very reliable design, very fast shooting. The robot, if you look at High Rollers every year, they're always about quick. How do we do things the fastest way, the most efficient way possible? One of the things, areas of opportunity for them, I haven't quite seen them shoot too many close-up goals at all. So with 10-point goals, if they're going to rely on that, it'll be interesting to see where their sweet spot is for that. But I think their decision-making ability to go for the right goal at the right time will be a winner for them. Next, I have team number 180, Spam, winner at Orlando in South Florida. Now, you can always argue about Orlando and everything that went down there, but Spam is the winner. They did a great job and a great robot. Remind me a lot of 987, very reliable and very fast, with kind of the same potential notes for it as well as where their sweet spot position is going to be. Last of my top 5 list, I have team number 624, Kryptonite, winners at Alamo. They unfortunately were eliminated in the Orlando issue that happened, but also finalists at Lone Star. Strong 2-ball autonomous with hot ball detection, excellent drivetrain, very reliable shot, just a great robot overall. A couple honorable mentions I have. One would be team number 359, Hawaiian Kids, winner of 3 different regionals at Northern Lights, Dallas, and Hawaii. Very reliable robot, very quick on the ground, able to do a great close shot. They have that great sweet spot right behind that 1-point goal, which is very reliable for them. A couple of concerns I have, potentially with center of gravity issues, they're a little bit high in the air if there's a high-speed impact, and their shot can be a little bit disrupted if they're hit at the right time. My other honorable mention for this division over on Curie is team number 1718, the Fighting Pie. Winner is at Waterford District, and they were finalists in MSC with 67. They do have a great 2-ball auto. Remind me a lot of a 987 bot, very competitive robot. However, they do have kind of the same issue with 67. They're able to get boxed out a little bit. So I'd like to see them kind of maneuver out of tight situations a little more, because I think that if they're able to do that, I mean, it's so great in the qualifying rounds, but I think that was kind of their downfall in the elims. So if they can work on their maneuverability a little bit and get out of those tight spots, I think they'll be a great team. My dark horse for this, and what's interesting is that, based on their track record, I would never consider them a dark horse, but I think they've flown way under the radar this year. That's team number 177, Bobcat Robotics. Winner of the New England Regional Championship, winner of 2 district events, reliable shooter, and just a very accurate robot. They know what they're doing every time, and I feel why they're my dark horse this year is they've flown so under the radar with the amazing performance they have that I think that somebody will snag them at a time when maybe everybody will say, like, oh, why didn't they go sooner? And that's going to be the key pick over in the Curie division.
I'll make a bold prediction. 177's going back to Einstein. Let's not kid ourselves here. I mean, the last 6 times they were at championship, they went to Einstein. All they do is go to Einstein. 177 is going to Einstein. Let's just adjust with that. And
it's just a thing now.
But Karthik too is. I mean, when they were Einstein teams, they were generally the second robot in the alliance, right?
Some of the times. I mean, they were the alliance captain the last time on Einstein in 2011. So. I mean, they did early on in that run. They were the second robot a couple times, but yeah, I think they'll slip. I mean, I agree. I think that they might be on the 4th or 5th kind of alliance in that division, but they're going to Einstein somehow. It's just happening.
That's
like
just
if
what
I'm
happens.
254 and I see number 1, I'm picking 177 because they just go to Einstein.
They've been there.
You
They're
just
a
got
good
that
luck
going
charm.
for you. So some stats about Curie. Their matches played are 2,521 with a combined record of 1,570, 940, and 11. Their winning percentage in Curie is 60%, 52 regional winners, 14 district winners, 34 regional and district finalists. They have 17 Chairman's Award winners and 16 Engineering Inspiration Award winners.
So though Newton boasts the highest win percentage overall, nobody can touch Curie's 52 regional wins combined with 14 district wins. That's by far the most as far as the other divisions go.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of waiting until Curie. I had a feeling that 254 would be mentioned, so now would be a good time to talk. The thread on Chief Delphi has kind of gotten really interesting about Cheesy Vision. I think it's first of all, when they came out with Cheesy Vision, I was just blown away that a team would not give away, but to release that information to the entire FRC community was just a very bold move, and appreciative too, because it's something that we've implemented ourselves. But how do you guys feel as far as Cheesy Vision aligning with the kind of what autonomous mode is supposed to be? Like, how do you guys feel about that? And do you think it's a loophole that might be closed in the future?
Like autonomous has turned into like a hybrid mode almost?
Yes, yeah. Anybody want to touch it?
I'm just waiting for them to bring back a fake connect with wizards on the sideline, personally.
All right, what do we got next here?
Might be Frozen. He is Frozen.
Am I back?
No, you're good. It was Karthik's Frozen.
I think Karthik's.
Alrighty, next we have the Archimedes division. Starting out, Archimedes, everybody says they're a very stacked division. Archimedes has an amazing set of teams out there. Very, very hard to pick. Just 5 and maybe a little bit more.
Stupid.
Starting out, we have team number 2056, OP Robotics. I don't mean to start with more Canadian teams, but what a fantastic team they are. Winner at Waterloo and Windsor, only doing 2 regionals this year, which is kind of interesting for them. But the thing that makes them so amazing is just 3 things: quick, and quick. Wow, how quick can they go? How quick can they shoot? How quick can they move? And that's really, when we analyze every year, we always say we want to be do everything as quickly as possible, and 2056 is always taking the cake every year with that. Multi-distance shooting, big target for the ball to get inside the robot. Overall, this is a great robot. One thing that I was a little bit surprised with them, that it looked like they were trying to do some catching a few rounds and not very successful in that. And I'm not sure it's just because they were ahead by so much. They wanted to, just try to see if they could do it, because what a crowd pleaser it is. But I definitely would recommend maybe stay away from catching during the qualification and elimination rounds for OP. Next team joining them is the fantastic team number 33, Killer Bees, winner of 2 of 3 district events in Michigan, and also the winner at MSC. My notes on here say, oh my God, what a big target. What a cool robot they have. What a reliable scorer they have. Visual appearance makes them stand out above all the rest. Great scorer, great coach on their team, great drive team on their team, just a great overall robot. Potentially concerned, but I also think it's what's to their benefit. So it could either be their saving grace or something that spurs them out, is having their Omni wheel drive. The one thing I love about it, though, is they're able to get out of some of the tightest traffic jams in complex areas, but it could also be something used against them, if they can be turned the right way. But, I mean, overall, if you win MSC and it hasn't happened yet, I think it's a good sign for the future. Let's join them with the other great team that they have, team number 27, Team Rush, 2 times finalists at District and Michigan champs with 33. Massively improved since I saw them in Duluth. One of the biggest things they had a little bit of issues with was ball security, and they did a great job securing that down. A great 2-ball autonomous, great robot overall. The only thing I'd say that maybe is a potential downfall is having such a low shot area from. They could be potentially blocked, not having a holonomic drive. But once again, we're nitpicking here, guys. They took MSC by storm. I don't think anybody necessarily saw them coming. They had a good, solid robot, but for Michigan State champs, they brought their A game, and they did a fantastic job taking the MSC championship. Next robot I have joining them is team number 2590, Nemesis. District champ at one of the MAR events and also winner of the MAR championship. 2-ball hot goal autonomous, good close shot, and amazing where they shoot the ball from is such a high area, it's pretty much unblockable to have. Great robot overall. one of the concerns I might have is their being defended against shots while hit from a distance. They seem, a few of the videos I watched, they seem to lose the ball a couple times when they're hit from a further distance out. Last team in my top 5 is team number, this was very close by the way, team number 2485, the Warlords. Finalists at San Diego, winner at Las Vegas. Great 2-ball autonomous that they had, playing with high rollers, did a great job. They were the primary scorer during that as well, which to me really says something that with 987, both of them played primary score at one point in time, but to have 2045 looking just fantastic as a primary score when they did was awesome. One of the things I thought they did really well is even under duress from multiple scoring positions, they were able to score majority of the times into the 10-point goal. And being able to be harassed and score at the same time to me is something that we all know once we get to the elimination rounds, it's something that a team's going to really have to either get by or struggle with. The only concern I have that they do seem, for such a high caliber team that I have them in, they are a little bit slow on the drag train area, so we'll see how that plays out for them. My honorable mentions for this division are team number 195, the Cyber Knights, winner of the Southland District, finalists at New England Championships. 2-ball auto, unfortunately, they died in the last match of the finals, but 2-ball autonomous, very quick acquisition of the ball, very quick scoring on their team, very impressive robot. Like I said, the unfortunate thing is they died in their last match. Their 2-ball autonomous has had a little bit of inconsistency issues, so we'll see if they improve on that. My other honorable mention is team number 1625, Winnovation, winner of the Midwest Regional. Really nice catching inbound area that they have. Reminds me a lot of 33 in that aspect. Great long-distance shooter, and they make a very, very good trust partner in the elims. I do have a little bit of concern with them being a primary score in elims, but overall, great robot. I haven't seen a multi-ball autonomous from them yet, or a reliable one yet, if they have showed one. So I look forward to having a good multi-ball from them over on the Archimedes division. My last team for overall is the Dark Horse team, team number 1477, Texas Torque. Finalist at the Lone Star Regional this year. And the reason I picked them as my dark horse is the amazing improvement they had over the first regional. Their overall, their driver control and just their overall robot improvement from the Dallas Regional. They make a great trust partner bot, intaking from both sides, and to me, will make a great second bot in the elimination rounds. Only having 1-ball autonomous that I've seen so far might hurt them a little bit in qualifications. And I don't necessarily see them being a front-end scorer in the elimination rounds. But once again, to me, their position is in the backcourt, and I think they do a great job of that.
Awesome, Tyler. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for all that information. Absolutely in-depth, and can't thank you enough for that. So the question I have, or something I like to discuss now that we've talked about Archimedes, we've talked about 2056, 33, as well as 1625. Teams that can catch and have a decent catching area, do you think that'll be used often at championships? Do you think catching will be a factor in qualification rounds? Do you think it'll be a factor in the elimination rounds? And do you think we will see a successful catch on the Einstein field? Bum, bum, bum.
I'd say the odds are against it, but I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility. I think if you're playing with a team that can catch, you just need to understand that it can't be your only strategy, because it can be defended and thrown off. So you need to have plan A for the catch, plan B for where you're going to put the truss otherwise. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we have firsthand experience on this. We played with 2056 in Windsor, and we said, that if the opportunity for the catch was there, we're going to go for it. Otherwise, we're going to go right to the human player with the truss. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, with catching on the field, if you're able to just get in the general vicinity, I think really the question comes in more than a catch is, do I want to shoot to the human player, or do I want to keep it on the field? And if you want to keep it on the field, then the catch comes into play for that. But if you feel the human player is more reliable for you, then obviously you're going to go to the human player and not be going to mess around with the catch. Sure. I mean, with so much traffic going on your front-end court while you're trying to score, to me, catching is something that can it happen? Yes. Will it happen in quals? Probably a couple times. But in elims, if it happens, I think it'll be more that, we just want to keep the ball on the field, and we're also able to get a catch, luckily, as well.
The other thing is catching is to a certain degree like full court shooting last year, where when people see that an alliance can catch, it's like they freak out, and they're like, oh, we got to defend the catcher, we got to defend the trusser, and any alliance with that ability and to show it, it throws off the strategies of their opponents.
Sure.
So that's very important in this game.
Mm-hmm. Good insight, guys. So we're going to throw up the Archimedes kind of stats here just to round that off. They have 2,543 matches played with a combined record of 1,560, 961, and 22. Winning percentage is 61% with 35 regional winners, 12 district winners, and 29 regional district finalists. They're bringing 21 Chairman's Award winners and 14 Engineering Inspiration Award winners.
So just one thing to comment on, because I totally agree with FRT Team 610, who mentioned that you'll see a lot of upsets instigated by alliances who run a no-trust strategy, just because we were talking a little about trusting and catching. It is interesting to see that how many teams want to do the trust every single time and specifically want to get to the human player, and they'll take so much more time instead of just potentially passing it to get a 31-point cycle or a 41-point cycle. Getting that extra 10 points, Karthik, maybe if you can elaborate on this, is it really beneficial to do it every time, or should you only do it sometimes, or when is the best time to not do a trust catch?
Well,
trust pass.
You just have to look at the math of it, and we've already talked about how sacrificing the high goal for the low goal is a very valuable strategy, because if it can generate you an extra cycle, you'll throw away 9 points if you're going to get an extra 30-point cycle, 30 points of assists in there. The same thing goes for the trust. It's the same thing. Like, it's very easy to talk about, inbounder, truster, finisher. Like, that's just kind of the way we view things. But you give up 10 points for the trust, but if you're going to generate yourself an extra cycle, that's a trade you want to make.
I mean, how many times have we seen a ball go over the trusted human player and the kid is just standing there for, it seems like forever, just because those two robots that are not doing their part, like Karthik talked about earlier, they're not part of their cycle right now.
Well,
are doing nothing, and they can't get the ball back to their robot, and all that time is just wasted.
I think the really interesting thing to think about is that teams seem more likely to give up an assist than they are to give up their trust, which mathematically doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But you often see teams, it's like, oh, something's going wrong, that robot's getting defended, let's just do a 2-assist cycle. But it's like when they get the mentality is we have to trust, it's like they go and they will fight for that trust. So,
good point.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that was driving me, I had a chance to watch a lot of webcasts on state championship weekend, and I did more match watching then than I have all season long, really, was the amount of teams that miss their second assist by trusting from the red zone or the blue zone instead of the white zone. It is terrifying how many teams mess that up.
It's just, because they'll robot make out to get it, and then they'll just trust it from, that zone, or not go fully into the white zone and then come back out.
Now, the flip side of it is that it's hard to see, because a lot of times people will do that trust while straddling the line, so it's not exactly an easy thing to see. It's easy to point it out as how are they doing this? But at the same time, that's one of those things where, as a 20-point thing, teams need to be careful on that one, because I saw a lot of matches get decided on that over state championship or district championship weekend, rather.
Yep. So a couple quick summary notes here. So the match winning percentage is highest in Newton at 62%. But there's only a 5% difference between the four divisions. So the next highest is 57%. Curia is the highest number of regional winners and district winners at 66, but Newton is a close second with 65. The most gracious and professional division goes to Archimedes with 35 chairmans and EI winners combined. Archimedes played the most matches at 2,543, but the division with the least number of matches is only 22 matches behind it at 2,521. So when you think about that, 22 matches amongst 100 teams is, with all those events that all those teams went to, is just staggering to see how close these divisions are in statistics.
They didn't mention that was part of the algorithm?
There you go. That's what they're preferring. Yep. We talked about it earlier, but it's hard to nail down one division that sticks out amongst the rest. You could do that in divisions past, but I mean, I guess being in Newton, which is crazy how many times we've been in Newton the past We've been there, what, eight times?
Eight out of 10, last 10, I think.
Or something like that. But in Newton, again, you just have 16, 25, 48, 111, 330, 341, 368, 525, 610, 971, 1114, 1126 was a good robot as well from our area. 1285, 1678, 1806, 1983, 1986, 2415, 3847, and 4039. So that's quite the matchup there. So that'd be quite interesting. So a question that came in, maybe you guys can take this as you guys have both been on alliances that obviously are near the top quite often. They kind of lead it by saying it's kind of a rookie question here. Maybe not rookie, but anyway. If you're playing for the third pick or you want to be chosen, should you go and talk to teams and do the whole here's why you should pick us? If not, no. If so, how should you go about that without kind of like, being in the way or being, quote, as this person said, like stocky? So could you guys just touch on that maybe just real quick?
I think you should. I don't think it hurts, although, I mean, it can hurt if you're an idiot or a douchebag. But I think generally, just kind of reminding teams like, hey, this is what we're really good at. This is what we're focusing on. This is how we think we can benefit you. I think is always a good thing. And I don't think it comes off as stocky as like, I mean, that's a weird term, but, like as long as you're not in their face about it or in their pit every 10 minutes, I think I've never had a problem with teams trying to sell themselves. I think it's part of the game, and I think it's a good way. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, at least you've networked with another team and they've gotten to know you, and it might help you at a regional in the future or championships in the future. So, I think it's an important thing that teams should be doing, especially if they think they're on the cusp of getting picked or not picked, or there's a specific alliance they think they can, or a specific team they think they can work very well with.
Sure.
The way I got to look at it is from a salesman perspective is, one, are you going to go out and get the sale, or are you going to wait around for somebody to hand you money and say, here you go? And if you're going to, you absolutely should be talking to teams, but the more important thing is, what is your message to them? What I think where the stocky, annoying part comes in is, are you wasting their time? Do you not know really what you're talking about? You just come up and want to start talking to them. Yes, that's fine for a little bit, but if you want to be effective in what you're doing, you should have a pre-planned out saying, here's what your robot does. Here's how we can help you become a better alliance. Here's what we offer the table. And also, what do you need? What do you feel can be done to make your alliance better, to make your team better? And by playing to what they want as an alliance and what you can offer them as an alliance, it's a salesman pitch, right? You just gotta know the right pitch, and not necessarily the right words, but know how you are compatible with that potential alliance partner.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think that's great advice, because we've gotten, most of us who do this a long time, we've gotten that pitch at some point. It's important for teams to recognize, one, make sure you're not interrupting somebody who is clearly doing something that's maybe more important than the conversation that you want to have. Make sure you're respectful of the person's time, and try to give it that elevator pitch, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, anything more than that. And I'm starting to go the other side with it, where you're starting to annoy me to the point where I don't know how well we'd play together. So respect the person's time that you're talking to, come prepared, and if you want to, leave me with something.
Yeah.
I
was going to mention that.
Give me a card or a paper with your robot's abilities on it. Yeah, there's that.
I think one of the other good things too is also making sure you're talking to the stakeholder as well. If you just come up and just start talking to people on the team, they might mention it, but the first thing you should be asking is, who makes your decisions for line selections? Yeah,
exactly.
And by finding out that person, being that one to talk to, and then the other thing too, if they're busy, or even if once you're done with your pitch, say, hey, when would be a good time for me to come back and talk to you?
Sure.
I have to say that, in many years of doing this, I don't think of the times that I've been seriously annoyed by a team selling themselves. It's like less than 5. Like it's, I mean, so yes, teams, go out there and sell yourselves. Don't be worried about coming off as annoying. I mean, right. Some of the coolest people I've met in first, I've met through conversations like that. So.
Awesome. Good thoughts. So any final words maybe about championship? Do you think there'll be some sort of gameplay that we haven't seen yet, or do you think the game has kind of evolved? Do you think championships will start out at the level like MSC, MAR, and the Pacific Northwest and New England kind of left off on, or do you think it'll kind of regress a little bit maybe towards, regional play at first and then pick back up in eliminations, or just thoughts on that?
I don't think the defense is going to come rip roaring out the gate, but I do think it'll show up come elimination rounds. I love the full day of matches on Thursday. I think teams. I mean, you can have 2 pick list meetings. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
what we're gonna do.
I think that's going to be a good change there. But yeah, I think the game.
I think with having more matches, obviously, is a fantastic thing to have. With this game being an open field, though, and hopefully teams know that they do need to strengthen their chassis and to make more robust robots. But I think having more matches with that, I think you will start to see the defense come Friday, and I think it's going to come very hard. And it'll be interesting to see the durability of the teams and the robots on how, after 10 matches, yes, we have to be ready for elims now. The only benefit to that as well, too, is having 3 full days of competition now gives you hopefully a little bit more time in between to make the right modifications you have to make.
Sure. Awesome. Anything else from you, sir?
No. We'd extend a huge thank you to these 2 gentlemen, Tyler Olds from 2026 and Karthik Kanagasabathy from Team 1114.
There it is.
One quick thing.
Sure.
Just have a great time in St. Louis, everyone. I'm not going to be there this year, which is like I'm still adapting to this fact, but have a great time. And I know the show is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a great event. And good luck to everyone.
Well, thank you, Karthik.
Yeah, and I got to say the same thing too. This is my first year not going to championships in quite some time, but I'll definitely be watching from afar. The teams that I'll be watching. Good luck to all of you guys. It is going to be an amazing event. And I think this year, just having the depth of field of such amazing teams this year, I think will be one of the best championships we've seen yet. Just a side quick note, I did find Karthik on here too, which is kind of cool. So
there you go.
Hey, buddy.
I don't know if you see that.
What? He says what?
All right. Well, I'll just echo what they said. Have a great time at the first championship, especially if it's your first time. All I can say is network, try to get out outside your comfort zone and talk to some of these great teams that are there. It's just the best part of the World Championship is being able to get outside of your normal kind of area and talk to and learn from some of these great teams that are across the world. So don't let that opportunity go by. Find some time to walk the pits and have some great conversation with people.
I mean, this is championship is so cool because everybody is under the same roof. Like you get to share maybe some events with a team here or a team there, but this is a time where you can just go up and explore and learn about every team that's there. And Justin said network with new people, and we've met so many people over these past few years from championship because that's the only time we get to see them. And we're looking forward to seeing many old friends and making some new ones. So if you see Justin or myself or Pat Flynn there, please come up and say hi, grab a sticker from us. We'd love to have a conversation with you. And we look forward to everything at Championship. And once again, thanks to Karthik for taking time out of his busy schedule and everything that's going on with Vex Worlds coming up. And thank you to Tyler for all your hard work that you put into the show tonight. And it just was a lot of fun. And we hope everybody enjoyed it as much as we did.
Just the standard pitch. You kind of know what we look like. We're not entirely sure what you guys look like, so you kind of have to come up, say hello. We love meeting people, and as you know from the years we've been doing the show now, we love wearing team shirts on the show, so it's just their standard request for if you want us to wear your team shirt on the show, we need your team shirt.
Yeah. And just one more thing, if you would like the Top 25 t-shirt, you can go to our Spreadshirt and purchase that. I'm trying to throw it out. Oh, it's there. I'm good. All right, so you can go there, purchase a shirt, and once again, thanks to Vex Pro just for sponsoring the show and all that they have done for us. So we appreciate it, and thanks everybody. Are we doing a post-championship show?
Yeah,
I think we usually do, right?
Yeah, we do.
Do we do it the Tuesday right after?
Yeah,
I think.
Maybe we'll do like a championship top 25 or something.
Yeah, we'll see. So stay tuned for that. So once again, thanks to our guests, and we'll see you guys at Championship and thereafter. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Good luck. Good night.